All right, people, welcome back. Black is More podcast. The hiatus is over. We are back. Two favorite hosts. Aaron, Marcel, how you doing?
Doing great, man. Feels good to be back, man.
That's good. Yeah, we had a few people. I know. I saw a few Facebook posts. People like, hey, when is the next podcast? And
Which is good.
so we gotta make sure. People
wait, man.
are exactly. Yeah. And I don't know. I got a few things in the works that I've been working on. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Sir.
That's not what y'all here to hear. Y'all here to hear about what we got to say about some things that have been going on. Two kind of major figures in the I'll just say the black community, not just the music industry. Kanye West and Childish Gambino, aka Danny Glover, will be the subjects of the discussion today.
Glover. You said Danny Glover.
Is it? Damn.
This is lethal weapon.
Damn. Did I say Danny? Dang, man. Shout out to Danny Glover. But yeah, so these two individuals have kind of made some waves, positive or negative. How we'll kind of dive into that. You can make your own decision, but yeah, they've been in the headlines a lot lately. So those are the two gentlemen we're going to discuss, and I'm just going to leave it as vague as that because the topics are pretty broad, and we'll kind of get into some more details as we go. But first off, Kanye West. So, I mean, where do I start? So I think, he kind of got back into the public eye a little bit with, his comments about, supporting Trump, and he wore the MAGA hat, and he's been really active on Twitter and things like that. So that's really what kind of got Kanye's name, back in people's minds and back in conversations. He was just doing a lot of stuff with that. So fast forward a little bit, and he does this interview, two interviews, one with TMZ, one with Charlemagne. But the one that he did with TMZ was the one that I think got a lot of people a little upset, and kind of got his name out there even more. Specifically because TMZ kind of advertised it as him saying, 400 years of slavery sounds like a choice, which he did say. But of course, there was more to the interview.
What was it? And what was said
then again,
in the headlines, though? The headlines said
man, I don't even
Kanye
remember. I can
said
pull it
that
up.
slavery is a choice, and that's why I hate media.
Right.
But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you know what they're trying to do.
Right.
They're trying to get clicks. They're trying to get So I get it. So we'll just start there. So Kanye. Man, when I saw this interview, bro, and I think I texted you like right after I saw it, and I was like, man, I'm done with Kanye. I can't support this version of Kanye, and honestly, I'm still a little, kind of bothered by some of the things, not as much, because having a better picture, but I feel like some of the things that he was saying were relevant, and I think the TMZ host really kind of was picking up on that as well. But the things that he was saying about free thought and just people thinking independently of what like institutions and the powers that be, quote unquote, want you to think, I think that was very powerful. Right. I think that's a conversation in itself that needs to be had. However, I think that because of some of the other comments that he made, that it kind of got lost in that, because I mean, honestly, as a black person, I can't really be mad at somebody if they kind of just focus on that, because that's a big statement,
right?
I'm kind of referring to the 400 years of slavery thing. And so we were talking about this before, and I know you're going to kind of clarify it, but what he said was 400 years of slavery sounds like a choice, right? And you're going to clarify. Apparently, that's not what he meant. But what he said was 400 years of slavery sounds like a choice. And then I think I told you I don't think I heard anything between the rest of that interview and the Charlemagne interview, which I honestly only listened to like the first 45 minutes.
The
I didn't
best
listen to the
is
whole
the
thing.
last 45. I could have
The
told
best is the
you,
last word
Skip.
because yeah, my
Yeah,
oh really
the
damn
best is the
okay.
last 45.
Well,
And
self-disclosure.
yeah,
You'll
and
have
just to give you a
fill me
heads
in.
up, in the last 45,
Mm-hmm.
he talks about how as an entertainer he can basically say he can have a rant anytime he wants. No one cares. Like it's cool. But the moment he talks about black power economic um what you gonna call it, just pushing black economics or just I guess just trying to big up black people when it comes to economics, like it's a problem. That's when people have a
Mm-hmm.
problem with what Kanye does. So when you're talking about empowerment for economics, so economic empowerment, like that's the dangerous thing. Like you can pretty much act a coon, you can do whatever you want, but you can never ever empower the black people. And that's what he was saying in an interview. On top of him buying 300 acres of land in which he plans on starting his own community. And I've never heard a entertainer talk like that before. Have you? About starting his own
No,
community?
not off the top of my head. Yeah,
Exactly.
not off the top of my head.
And he said he wants to
Mm-hmm.
be, big in real estate, like the biggest name in real estate, which ties into the whole "I like Donald Trump" thing. Now, when you go into Kanye liking Donald Trump, let's keep in mind, like all rappers that we love, enjoy, in one time of their life, they have a punchline about wanting to be rich like Donald Trump. So let's keep it a buck there, okay?
Yeah.
So before Donald Trump ran this, hate-driven campaign, all the rappers loved him, including Snoop Dogg. There's pictures of Snoop Dogg with Donald Trump. Now, Trump did the
Mm-hmm.
most hateful sounding campaign and won. Hey, it's strategy. He won. Good job, whatever. But when it comes to Kanye and him wanting to run president, and you see someone who can basically speak whatever they want, feel free to just say whatever they want instead of feeling obligated to be politically correct all the time, that's something that Kanye likes. Why? Because Kanye does those type of things himself. Black people had no issue when he said that George Bush doesn't care about black people. They have no problem with him being
Mm-hmm.
outspoken in. But when he says something about slavery sounds like a choice, 400 years sounds like a choice, everybody's up in arms. And, with the whole MAGA hat, he's basically saying he feels confident enough that he can change MAGA into how black people change the perception of the word nigga. Now, is that, going to be a little difficult? Yeah, it is. Like, even me, I don't agree with him doing that. But at the same time, I
Mm-hmm.
don't look up to Kanye. I admire his work, but I feel like black people in general, to me, they made me more upset than anything because they have so much faith or they look up to another celebrity so much to where they're let down. Like, who the hell raised these people to where they really care about what one celebrity says? And yes, I understand he has this big following and people can, misunderstand what he's saying because he doesn't clarify all the time, which he's at fault for that. I give you that. But at the same time, for people to sit up and react before they even think, they're proving his point. They're proving his point about
Mm-hmm.
reacting without thinking. And for those
Right.
people who, be like, "Oh, I can't believe he said that." Well, let's just calm it down and let's do the math. So he says 400 years sounds like a choice, correct? Correct. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, from my
Yeah.
understanding, when it
Yeah.
comes to slavery, the first, I guess, documents say that slavery, the first slave or whatever, was 1619. Okay? So when you add 400
Mm-hmm.
years, we're in present day. He's talking about even now that we are slaves. Now we are mentally enslaved. Now it kind of connects to the whole Childish Gambino video, in which we're going to talk about later. Basically, we make all these stupid dance videos and all that, and we're distracted by it. But meanwhile, there's other stuff that's going on that we choose to ignore. Whenever people are getting gunned down and stuff like that, what do? We care about it for a day or two, but we don't do anything about it. Like, how many black people do you know actually know the law? How many black people do you know, like, actually know their nationality? Like, what's your nationality, Aaron?
I'm gonna do the ancestry. I don't know.
That's the problem. We don't know
Um,
our
what?
nationality.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
our thing. Like,
yeah,
but
yeah,
most
yeah.
black people are gonna say that I'm African American, which, from my understanding, was a
Mm-hmm.
term that Jesse Jackson used for the first time back in the '80s when he was running for president. And people go by
Mm-hmm.
black. Well, back in the 1960s, we hate the word black. We thought that was just a terrible
Mm-hmm.
word. But now we call ourselves black. But when you talk about Ethiopians, when you talk
Right.
about Nigerians, when you talk about all that, they can clearly tell you that, hey, I'm Nigerian. I'm from Nigeria. I'm from, Ethiopia, so I'm an Ethiopian. They can easily tell you their nationality. We, in America, we can't do that. So if everybody in the world that's black
Hmm.
is black, but they have their own nationality, where does that leave us? So until we
Yeah.
understand that we technically don't have any rights, and that's the reason why people, officers, can gun us down in the street and basically not go to jail for it, not go to prison for it. But we kind of choose to be in this state. When you look at
Right.
the economic ways, right? A lot of us, man, we would be dead if it wasn't for government assistance for a lot of us. Now, some of us actually do need it, but a lot of us use it as a crutch. It's still a choice at the end of the day. Like, you can choose to quit your job and choose to do something that you have a passion for. Yes, you may be out of work for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you may not be able to pay bills for a while, but it's a choice, and it's a hard choice. But Kanye, to me, he didn't even mean anything about slavery being a choice back in the day when slavery was legal. He was just saying 400 years of slavery is all of y'all? Is all of y'all? Like, not include, it's not just black people. It's everybody who basically works for somebody who feels that, oh, I need to get these brands because if I don't, I won't be cool or the girls won't like me. Like, he made a song called New Slaves 5 years ago, talking about being slaves to the brands and corporations. And that's what we are. Like, it's his
Yeah.
way of thinking. Now, he doesn't do a great job of expounding on what he's thinking all the time, because he's the type of guy that just throws out ideas and wants people to talk about it. But at the same time, I can understand what he's trying to do. Like, I can sit down and understand right away, like, oh, maybe you should think this way. Maybe you should think that way. Like, I don't understand why people are so up in arms by one person saying something when you choose to have a religion in which you was beaten into. How dare you have the audacity to point some fingers at someone for their opinions when, to someone who doesn't necessarily believe in Jesus Christ, you know how you sound when you talk about praise Jesus and all that?
Well,
I'm just saying.
well, you know what though? Yeah, no, I get that, but I think that people are upset with Kanye because, I mean, in a lot of ways, he was supposed to be And I'm not saying he's not, but this is, again, what people were feeling back, when this first
Right.
came out. He was supposed to be representing the best of us. He was supposed to be representing the best parts of black people. And so going to the Trump thing, with him kind of, I guess kind of like symbolically aligning with
Mm-hmm.
him, this is somebody in Trump who, I think just African Americans in general just don't feel like he has our best interest in mind at all.
Right.
So, for him to align with him, like I can't be mad at people for being upset about that. I personally cannot. And see, here's another thing. Here's another issue I had with the TMZ thing that I kind of got from Kanye,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you said, great point. He felt like, and I think he kind of verbalized this too. He feels like he is big enough, and he said this in the Ye versus the People song, I think, that he can kind of flip the MAGA thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? He can flip the Make America Great thing and kind of turn it into a positive and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I think Kanye is a little too full of himself
Which is fine.
on that one.
I agree.
Do.
I think that.
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
That is, but
It
that's
is,
typical. Yay. He's, to me, he hasn't changed as much as people think. Like, name one time when he wasn't braggadocious or arrogant or thinking that he could do something that most people
I
thought
think when
was
he
impossible.
first came out, he wasn't like that, which you wouldn't expect. He didn't have the fame yet, but I think when he first kind of like, early, college dropout, like stuff like, I think he was pretty humble at that point. And then the more success he got, and see, here's something that I'm starting to have an issue with, is this word genius. And here's what I'm going to compare it to. I feel like he's the high school football player who was just great and has been told that he can walk on water and has never been, doubted and always been pumped up. And, he's been told this for, 12, 13 years and playing ball, go to college, same thing. And then when he gets to the pros, he's not coachable and stuff like that because, his ego has just been pumped by so many people. And I feel like Kanye is kind of similar to that situation in this genius thing. Because,
it's the people. That's my problem. People have named him genius, which is no problem because in my book, everybody's a genius at something. Like, he's a genius at music.
Yeah, sure.
He could be a genius.
But you know what,
in
though?
fashion if he wants to be.
Yeah, and he musically, and I don't know about his fashion stuff, but I can say from a music standpoint, Kanye is a genius. I feel that. I really believe that. A lot of people believe that. But here's the thing, though. I know, players who were those, those super talented guys who had the support and like, oh man, you're great, you're amazing in high school and in college, but still were able to maintain the humility to say, hey, you know what? I mean, it's hard work and dedication. I couldn't have gotten here on my own. So, and I'm not saying, Kanye, he could have had a different set of circumstances, but I don't feel like all the blame can be placed on other people when it comes to this.
No, it's definitely a combination.
I think he
but when you look at geniuses, right, there's always something wrong with the genius. And it's a reason, because they're so good at this one thing that something just isn't right in other places. Like Einstein, didn't he date his cousin or something like that? It was something weird.
Man, I do not know.
But when it comes to different
possible.
When it comes to different geniuses, there's always something off with them. It's fine. And I hate to bring this up, R. Kelly. He's a musical genius when it comes to songwriting, okay? Even though he, has what he is going through for 20-something years, he's still a musical genius at the end of the day. But you see something's not right with him. I think he said that he's illiterate and he can't read or write. So it's amazing how he can pump these songs out over the past 20, 30 years. But again, there's another thing that's wrong with him. Like Jamie Foxx, Chris Brown. These are some of the most talented people that you will come across. and they're said as geniuses in some people's eyes. But something's off with every last one of them. Every genius you could think of, something's wrong with them. They're not wired properly. And something is wrong with Kanye to think that he thinks that the whole Donald Trump thing is going to be able to be flipped. But at the same time, I can't be mad at him. That's how he thinks. Like, part of his interview with Charlemagne was saying how pretty much people are so PC that they're worried about how other people are going to perceive their thoughts and opinions. So therefore, they just go with what the population says, the consensus. And it pretty much proves his point. Like, just because Kanye decides to roll with Donald Trump because both of them are cocky, arrogant, both of them are big blabbermouths, they just say whatever comes to their mouth, and both of them are rich, both of them have this dragon energy that Kanye said, but also both of them
dragon energy,
whatever that means. But like, Kanye is only looking from a personal standpoint. He's not looking from a what will my black people think about this? He's only thinking about himself.
Well, shouldn't he?
But that's the thing.
Shouldn't he, though?
Black people make this rule all the time, but they don't hold black people accountable all the time. They pick and choose. Like, my thing is, why do we put so much stock into what celebrities do? Why don't we do stuff ourselves? That's my problem with the whole thing.
No, I'm with you. But I know the reason that people are doing it, because again, they're supposed to be representing us.
How?
Which I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
Who gave him the key, bruh? And if they
nobody.
If they gave him the key, that thing was revoked when he got with Kim K. People, but you know what though? Said that they gave up on Kanye a long time ago, but then all of a sudden he does this. Yeah. Oh, I give up on him now. No, you been said you gave up on him. So why do you care now? That's my problem. Yeah. Like, you care about what other people say.
And here I'm gonna look at the opposite side, and just to confirm, you were correct. The lady's name was Elsa Einstein. I guess she was cousins with the Albert. So that's weird. But
they're off.
So I'm looking at it as
his mother
the opposite way too, though, bro. Because he experienced trauma. He's living in the limelight, which is stressful. He's got he said something about the liposuction and how he's he's messed up because he's thinking he has to portray an image for he's dealing with some stuff. I'm not saying that, but think about the token black guy, right? Who's out there carrying a Confederate flag, and then the white people are pointing to him like, oh look, you know what I'm saying? That's what Kanye. That's why I think people are so like up in arms, because they don't want Kanye to be that for Donald Trump. Like, look, hey, one of your greatest representatives is on my side.
Right.
Like he believes.
Right.
So I think, it's kind of that dynamic there.
Over the years.
And I mean, I get what you're saying about.
Over the years, though, Kanye has hinted, in my opinion, that y'all should chill out. Like, the power song. He says no one man should have all that power. Talking about how when he went on that stage with Taylor Swift and everybody was like, oh, how could you do that? She's only a girl, blah, 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 blah. They gave him so much power with the words that he said that day. It's just one person. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, people are giving
I get it.
Are giving Kanye this power. If you just ignore the jackass, like Obama said, he's a jackass to some people. Like, ignore him. Don't sit up here, I can't believe Kanye would do this. Like, it's partially our fault for looking up to someone. You know darn well when it comes to entertainment, I cannot point out one person that I'm going to agree with 100%. And that's just anybody in this world. So when an entertainer makes a decision or a statement, whatever, like, that's them. So what? Like, I get what you're
Mm-hmm.
saying, and I agree. Like, he has, whenever you're a role model or whenever you're an entertainer or something, people look up to you. People gonna look to what you're
Right.
doing and all that. I agree.
And it's not a choice
Right.
you can make, but yeah,
I
it
understand
happens.
that.
Yeah.
And then the whole, all the white supremacists, oh, look, you see, this is how you guys should be. Or see, he agrees, so why can't all
Mm-hmm.
you agree? But when you listen to
Mm-hmm.
Kanye's reasons for liking Donald Trump, it has nothing to do with his policies. And that's, messed up on
Mm-hmm.
his part by not caring about the policies or not knowing about the policies. But at the same
Right. Yeah.
time, when if you sit back and don't react and just listen to why he likes Donald Trump, he has his own reason for liking Donald Trump as a person. Why? He wants to run as president in 2024. He has the same type of characteristics as Donald Trump. He does. He's a loudmouth. He's a celebrity. He's outspoken. These are some of the characteristics that Kanye is that Donald Trump is. So when he's comparing himself,
Yeah.
he's Kanye is cut off from the world. So he doesn't necessarily know what's going on. And that's another reason why I can't believe black people are putting so much into this, because you're basically listening to a guy who's cut off from the world. That's like a 5-year-old grabbing a mic and telling people where babies come from. Like, are you really gonna be
Hmm.
upset that this baby said what they think where babies come from? No, you shouldn't, because they have no
Mm-hmm.
expertise in this. Kanye is the same way.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, I understand he has a job to do as a role model, all this stuff, but it's an opinion at the end of the day. And if it's an opinion and
Yeah.
it's a thought, we shouldn't hold people to that like that. It's a conversation starter. And I think it's great that it was a thought that was thrown out there that people could talk about, because I'm pretty sure there was other people like myself who looks at today being mental slavery, and we still suffer through the trauma from slavery, but we refuse to get help. We refuse to get any type of
Yeah. No,
therapy and
I
stuff
agree
like
with
that
that.
to understand where these acts and stuff
Mm-hmm.
come from. Like, most of the time people act out of fear instead of thinking that they're fearless. They pretty much act out of fear. Like, when you're in the hood and you looking over your shoulder and you making sure nothing happens to you, or you making sure, nothing's about to go down, you're living in fear. You're not being fearless because you walked in wherever you wanted to walk in. You still living in fear, but people don't understand that. And that comes from slavery. We're still
Yeah.
living in fear.
But oh no, I agree. Like the mental slavery aspect, and like you're saying, people living in fear and all that stuff. However, that's not what the man said.
It's not what he
He
said.
said 400 years of slavery sounds like a truth,
And he also
and
said
that
that
was
I
the
hope that there's
like he
not
I
another 400 years, that we go through another 400 years like that. So if he says that I hope we don't go through
yeah, I mean,
another
yeah.
400 years like that, that means he's talking about I hope we can progress from where we are today instead of being at a standstill.
But you know what too? I feel like we have to infer a lot with Kanye. Because I feel like if he really was trying to say these things, he needs to say it.
But he later
Like
did. He went on
there's a lot
Twitter
of
and said he clarified a couple things.
and
Yeah.
clarified these.
But black people don't care about that. They just
Mm.
go off of the headline that they read. Don't care to read the article. Don't care to look at the entire video. They don't care to do anything. Like, you want to hide the truth? Put it in the book for niggas, man. Like, that's the problem. We really go off of freaking headlines. Don't want to read further, but also have the audacity to judge people and leave it at that. Like, if you have a thought or an opinion, that's exactly what it is. I can't be completely turned off because you have a particular thought or opinion. I can simply disagree. That's the problem with a lot of black people. Like, we can never,
Yeah.
just agree to disagree. we always have to hate somebody or dislike somebody because they think one particular way, which is the most selfish thing in the world.
Right.
If we could come down and just settle our differences and be like, hey, you're this way, that's cool. You're this way, that's cool. But we're gonna make this work. We can't do that. Our blood is boiling
I'm
because of one statement.
I'm all for the sharing of ideas. But I do think there are some things that could be said that are justified in you getting upset. And I'm just talking more on a broad sense, not necessarily specific to Kanye. In the sense of how it happened back in the day, or
we going through, because most people were up in arms about slavery from back in 1700 and which he wasn't talking about. But have we all been through slavery through the 1600s?
See, man, I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that.
No, people are more up in arms about the whole slavery thing. They really are, because the main thing that people were saying was slavery is a choice. That's what they were saying. They were misquoting.
Right. Well, I don't know if I agree with you saying that he didn't mean back in the day. I don't know if
he said 400
because, like I said,
years.
I feel like he should have said that.
He said 400 years. If you do the math, the 1619, 400 years, that's 2019. That means present day.
Mm-hmm. Well, but you know what though? I think it's commonly accepted though that the phrase 400 years of slavery is referencing the Nat Turner stuff and like it's not talking about like current mental slavery, because I think it's easy to, if you meant mental slavery, just say mental slavery.
But that's what he was trying. Dude, Kanye is not the best person to convey his speech, his words the best. That's the reason why we shouldn't even put that much into it. That's the funny part. But then when he went to Twitter to clarify, people still was like, I don't care, I don't know. But my whole thing with this, right? So we look at slavery. Let's just say he was talking about slavery. It's not far off for a person to believe that if you hear about Nat Turner, if you hear about people like Harriet Tubman freeing people and her having the quote, I could have saved 1,000 more slaves if they knew that they were still slaves. That's a mental problem. Also, when you think about the Haitian Revolution, 1804, stuff like that, when you think about them beating the Spaniards and revolting and rising, when you hear stuff like that, there were many slaves who kept other slaves from revolting or having big revolts because they would tell with the master. They would tell the master, like, hey, he about to do this or she about to do that. So we still, in a sense, do that type of stuff. We don't know where it comes from, but we make a choice to do so. And it's a choice. Now, slavery, being shackled and stuff, isn't a choice. You know what I'm saying? It's not. So for anybody to even come off and think that he meant, slavery, y'all chose that. No, he did not mean that whatsoever. When he says,
but again, bro, that's what he said. You know what I mean?
What
like,
did
I
he
hear
say?
you,
But
and if that's what he meant,
he said slavery,
he said 400 years of slavery sounds like a choice.
Okay.
He didn't say it is a choice. Now, if he would have said is, as in is still currently going on, then I could see the interpretation being different. And maybe that's what he meant. But all I'm saying is he needs to say that himself.
But
I don't feel like we should have to infer that.
Sounds like a choice. It's basically a Socratic method. You know, a Socratic method, like you just throw stuff out there, but that's not like what you truly feel. It's just a statement made or whatnot that you're going to be able to expound upon or just start a conversation with. That's basically what it was. People take it as, oh, well, that's how he means. That's what he meant. I don't get that. I just don't. But at the same time, I'm one of those people who can't react automatically. I will sit down and analyze what, did he mean by this? But when he first said it, popped in my head. Sounds about right to me. Like 400 years, I was going into mental slavery. That's what popped into my head right then and there. What's wrong with that? It's a thought. It's an opinion. Kanye didn't say it's a fact. He said sounds like a choice. That means it's his opinion. And people are getting up in arms about his opinion. I just don't get it. That's like me seeing a status about Jesus. Oh, I can't believe you said something about Jesus. Like,
well, yeah, and I mean, you know, some opinions matter more than others,
right.
man. Just to be honest. You know, like Kanye's is gonna matter way more than mine because he's Kanye.
But still,
you
people
know?
are mad.
I mean, he has a
They're
bigger
more
audience.
mad about his statement. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they're misquoting him on top of that.
Well, wait a minute. Misquoting
Because
the slave
they keep
thing?
saying slavery is a choice. And then the whole memes.
Well, that's what he
said.
said.
Slavery, he said 400 years of slavery. He said it sounds like a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also said, all of y'all? Which means all of y'all, he's talking, in my opinion, if we're in current day slavery, that means not only black people are in slavery, but most of the population, the 99% or 98% that aren't wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people can get what they want to get from it, but at the same time, I'm not going to be butthurt over what one person said. You see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter who it's coming from. Because when we hear Donald Trump talk, we just throw it to the bin and be like, man, that's just Donald. He's just tripping. Whatever. We don't take it as a fact. Mm-hmm. So why the hell would we do Kanye the same thing when most of us have canceled him already? As soon as he married Kardashian, what we do as a people? Oh, man, I can't believe he did that. He sold out. He da-da-da-da. So if that's the case, then why the hell do we care about what he said? I'm just saying, like, most people who were bashing him or hurt was like, oh, well, he hasn't made good music since his mom passed or whatever. Okay. So if he hadn't made good music since then, why the hell do you care? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't throw him to the wayside after he got with Kim.
So I don't see the huge outrage. Like, if you already, like, when the movie Get Out came out, right? Did you not see memes of Kanye in the sunken place? Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And this was
before
sure. He made those comments. Because black people have been canceled him. So if that was the case, then why the hell do you care about what a Kanye West says? That's my problem. Like, I already told you, Kanye did a terrible job of expounding on his stuff right then and there. He made a terrible job of delivering his words. He made a wrong choice of words. And also, I don't like the idea of the whole MAGA thing. But when you're that cocky and arrogant to think that you can change that, that's nothing but Kanye West. That's the same Kanye West we've always experienced. We just don't like this part where he goes the other way. Like, we cool with the whole George Bush doesn't care about black people outspoken Kanye. But when he says something like this that's different from the PC way of speaking, then we all up in arms. But he's just giving us the same exact Kanye before. It's just we don't like the message this time. So it's our problem.
I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of it's a lot of obviously a lot of sides to the conversation. I mean, we literally just touched the surface because he in between his Charlemagne interview and
watch the last 45.
The TMZ thing, he said a lot of things.
Please watch the last 45.
Yeah, I'll do that. I mean, I that's fair. Just to get the whole picture, but yeah. But in any case, I don't want to ignore the other gentleman who we wanted to talk about because he kind of made some waves. Childish Gambino. He had a video come out. He had a great weekend actually because he hosted SNL, as Donald Glover, and then he was the music guest as Childish Gambino. And then he had the video drop, I think that Monday or Tuesday or something for This Is America. And, one thing I love, is, so he's doing solo, he's, gosh, what's the character's name he's playing? Lando or something like that. Oh man, I'm gonna kill myself for not. I'm gonna have to look it up. But anyway, he's in the Solo movie, and his video came up, and the guy was like, "Hey, like what are some things that you wanted people to take away from the video?" And he was like, "I don't want to give it any context at
Right.
all. I just want people to take it." And so I love that. But anyway, what were some of your takeaways and thoughts from that video and just the impact it kind of had on the community for a short time? That thing got like almost 100 million views in like
Yeah.
like less than a week.
Yeah,
So
man. So dope video. I
hmm
thought it was brilliant. I thought it was like one of the best videos I've seen in the past few years. Uh,
yeah.
Man, so much like hidden messages or symbolism, as you would say, in the video. So like, first
hmm
off, Donald Glover has his shirt off and he's wearing Confederate pants of like the Confederate
hmm
soldiers. And
Right.
also he's pretty much, doing the whole gun care thing where he shoots people and they just drag the
hmm
bodies, however they want to. But with the guns, they take good care. They bring this little cloth out and they make sure that the guns are fine, which pretty much goes with the whole school shootings and stuff like that. Like, we could lose all these
hmm
lives, but we must keep our guns. And then
Yep.
also, he did the whole Jim Crow stance when he shot that dude with the pillow thing over his head. Um,
Okay. So yep.
and to
hmm
me, I didn't hear anybody talk about this, but I think the guy that had the sheet over his head getting shot, to me, it kind of reminded me of those videos that you see in the Middle East, in which they're lining up a lot of people and they're just shooting them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like
Yeah. Yeah.
we don't want to call ourselves terrorists, but we have the
hmm
most terrorist acts in America. You see what I'm saying? Like, I thought that was wild. And then the whole, like I said, the Jim Crow stance. He did the little Jim Crow smile. For people who don't really know, the whole Jim Crow
Mm.
thing was pretty much enforcing segregation in the South from the time they were freed up
Right.
until like the 1950s, I think. Um, the whole civil rights movement, but also the whole, I guess, the death on the white horse. Man, that was, to me, that was like really deep, because
Mm-hmm.
when I saw the horse, but I also saw like this gang member running before the horse. So it's kind of like death was like
Mm-hmm.
coming towards the gang member who was like running away. And then behind that was the
Mm-hmm.
cops. Pretty much they're like the overseers and stuff like that. So I thought that was some really dope imagery. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Man, let me see what else was there. And just the whole Charleston shooting of the choir.
Right. Yep. With the choir.
But man, I thought it was a dope video. Pretty much captured. And
Yeah.
then last but not least, where the video was shot. The video was shot at it looked like a warehouse or a factory or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that pretty
Yeah.
much,
Like a huge
yeah, and that
warehouse or
pretty
something.
much to me symbolized that the U.S., going back to one of our old episodes, is a corporation. It's a institution.
Hmm.
It's like a factory
Yeah.
in a sense. Like, it just
Hmm.
keeps going on and on and on, and
Yeah.
people, they give you dances to be distracted while all this serious stuff is going on in the background. And I think he played a great job in displaying all of that. So, yeah, what do you
Yeah.
think about the video?
No, I thought it was good. I thought he, like you said, he did a good job of capturing some of the I guess, kind of soft spots, if you will, of what's been going on in the last, like few years, like with the shootings and just kind of the disconnect from people like focusing their attention on, things that are probably not as important,
Right.
the things that's going on behind the scenes. But, I don't know. I feel like you summed up, a good job of what the video was trying to portray. And it's probably still more stuff in there, man, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it's so many kind of hidden gems. It's kind of like Get Out. Like, when you watch it for the second time, it's like, oh, damn, I didn't realize that, this meant that, this meant that, all that. But I want to shift gears real quick. So, same topic, but, so after he came out with this great video, there was some criticism because he is, I think he's married to this woman, but he's married to a white woman,
Girlfriend, or
and I don't know if they have kids together.
Yeah, they have kids.
Something. Yeah. And and then I even saw a video of him on Facebook where he was doing a Breakfast Club interview like some years ago or something. And he was saying how, he didn't think he could marry anybody other than a black woman because he needed somebody who, he was kind of jokingly saying he needs somebody who's racist like him. But he went on to say he just needs somebody who views the world the same way he does. And so, people are up in arms like, oh, he fake, blah, blah, blah. And I think the meme specifically, showing him like with this white woman walking was like, don't forget or something like that, or this is his, I don't know. It was just saying something to kind of just knock him down. But, this kind of just brings up the whole topic of interracial dating and, yeah. So what do you think about that? Like, what do you think about that criticism against him, even despite him making this great video? People still kind of coming for him because, he doesn't have a black spouse or, girlfriend or something like that.
Oh, well, before we get into that, I think the little meme or whatever came from Charmaine from Black Ink TV show on VH1.
Mm-hmm.
I think she said something like, "This is America. As a black woman in America, I just want to know why these woke men don't date black women."
Mm-hmm.
So that was her little quote. All right. Now, a lot of times, I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of men who are very vocal that date or marry white women or outside of their race.
Mm-hmm.
For me,
right,
like, I'm just going to say something that Malcolm X said somewhat. I'm not going to quote him, but I'm just going to paraphrase it. He said something along the lines of, a black man who dates a white woman must not love himself or must hate something about him to date something outside of his race. And he said vice versa for a black woman. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I can see what he's saying. Now, the reason why I don't necessarily agree with him is because it's not about who you date or who you marry. It's about adopting their culture. Whenever you adopt their culture, that's when you pretty much get lost in the sauce, or you just pretty much lose your identity. You lose who you are a lot of times. I think that's the fear for many people. Now, when you're dating or impregnating white women, congrats. You just made a person who's going to be white, partially black. Good job. It's more of us now. Hey. But anyway, on a serious note, I just, when it comes to Donald Glover specifically, right? There's so many women who are full of shit. Okay? The reason why I say this is because there's this weirdo backpacking corny type of guy that most black women do not like. Most of these black women
Mm.
have, hurt these guys at some point, or they must have they just weren't interested in these type of guys. So when you get rich or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and you finally see somebody who views the world that you do, and they happen to be white, then it is what it is. But most of them ain't checking for the weird guy. Now, as of recently,
Mm-hmm.
it's cool to be weird, but back when we was growing up, it wasn't cool to be a weirdo. Like, I've always been an individual, and most people say I'm cool, but at the same time, I've never done what most of the population does. I do my own thing, and when you do
Mm-hmm.
that, a lot of times you get labeled a weirdo. People don't understand you. People don't know what you're about because you do things differently. Like, people will make fun of you for the way that you talk. People will make fun of you for watching anime. They may think that's childish. They may think that you playing video games is childish. They may think, it's so many things that black women in general do not like about the weirdo or the weird guy. But then turn around and be like, "Oh, I can't believe you got with this white woman. You wasn't checking for him." And if you
Mm-hmm.
are checking for him, that's because you ran through all the jocks and stuff that don't want you no more, and your heart's broken. Now you want to settle for the weird guy,
Oh
you
Lord.
know. But I'm just saying, no one, they're not
Uh,
checking for the weird guy like that. Like, that might be in now, but it wasn't in back in the day. And there are some soul sisters that are into the whole weird guy, but at the same time, a lot of them be
mm-hmm.
dating white guys. So where I'm trying to understand. Like Serena Williams, she married a white guy, and what was her reason for messing with a white guy? She said the black guys hurt her. They
Well,
they
yeah,
cheated on her
they
or
didn't
didn't
treat
treat
her.
her right
Yeah.
or whatever. So it's okay when Serena does it
Mm-hmm.
right. Zoe Saldana, she got a white dude. Most of Hollywood's women actresses have white dudes. We not up in arms about
Mm-hmm.
this. But the moment when a guy does it, it's terrible. Like Issa Rae, she made a statement about intelligent black women should mate with Asian men. And she said that Filipinos don't count because they're like the nigga version of Asians. She said that in a book from like 3 years ago. Now, the only reason why
Yeah.
black men were up in arms about it is because of the whole double standard. We don't really care about what you date necessarily, but at the same time, black men we're always held to this standard of, oh, you a sellout, you do this, you do that, but we can't have a reason for
Mm-hmm.
dating whoever we want. Now, for me personally,
Right.
I prefer a black woman. I love everything about a black woman. Like, a black woman can pretty much, like, she's my guy at the end of the day. Like, I worship her. I just love a black woman. Like, now do they do some messed up stuff at times as a whole? Yeah. But at the same time, they've gone through so much and they need therapy. As we were saying, all black people pretty much need therapy at some point. But anyway, like, black is beautiful. I just love everything about a black woman. The way she carries herself, the way that she cares for people, a nurturer, uh, smart, just everything. Like, I think my mom did a great job of being a great woman, and that's the reason why I view black women the way I do, because of
Mm-hmm.
my mother. Now, just because I prefer a
Right.
black woman doesn't make me a racist, but I just love who I
Mm-hmm.
am to the fullest power. Now, you can be black and love a white woman and still love who you are, but the moment you start adopting her culture and forgetting where you came from and doing different things, that's where the problem lies. Because whenever you lay with
Mm-hmm.
somebody, you're pretty much getting their problems. Whenever you insert yourself, like, that woman is getting your problems and you're getting hers. Like you getting all her emotions and all that stuff. That's the reason why sex is something that is supposed to be very sacred between two people. That's why you shouldn't be going out and
Right.
having sex with everybody. But with that being said, like the whole Kanye thing, Kanye's he's messing with. I mean, he's married with Kim Kardashian. So therefore, when you dive into that, you're gonna adopt certain cultures that necessarily isn't yours. That's the reason why I'm not surprised by what he's saying. He's in a whole different space because of who he's laying with.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when it comes to interracial dating, I don't necessarily care as long as you don't lose yourself. But the moment you start adopting cultures that aren't yours and you start forgetting who you came from, then yeah, there's a problem. But
Yeah, and I don't feel like Gambino's done
Right.
that. You know, like I feel like he's still, and evidence of the video, like he still is really aware of what's going on. So I don't really feel like that's an issue personally. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like, sometimes like people just looking for things to criticize. And this just doesn't necessarily need to be one. Because like I don't know, I just feel like I've seen him in the right places. You know what I'm saying? I remember seeing a picture of him with like Issa Rae and like just all these other like really influential black artists. Like so he's obviously, down with the team.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's obviously spending his time with people who are like
Right.
him. And I don't, again, I think that goes back to what you're saying. He's not adopting the culture from what I've seen. But I mean, again, we'll have to. I'm not, with them or anything like that, so I can't say for sure. But I don't feel like I've seen that. I don't feel like I've seen that representation of him to need to be concerned. In that
I have
area.
a question. Do you think
Yeah.
that black women are somewhat traumatized and that the whole seeing a wealthy, successful black man with a white woman kind of like does it like trigger something in them?
I think it triggers something in them, but I mean, I don't know where the origin of that is coming from. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough question because, I mean, do black women have a reaction when they see, a black man, kind of going somewhere else? Yeah, but I don't know, man. That I think the whole relationship dynamic in the black community is messed up anyway.
It is.
Like that's been a problem. And I don't know if I don't know. That's tough. Again, like I don't know what the origin is or what the kind of driving force behind black women getting upset behind that. I mean, I like to see black couples. Like I'm not saying it's wrong or anything, but it's kind of like where's the motivation coming
Yeah, I
from?
love to see black couples. Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just when it comes to black women, I see how if a fellow black woman is dating a white guy, a lot of times the black woman will big up the other black woman dating the white guy and be like, "You go, girl," or you know what, I might have to give me a white boy and stop playing. Like I hear these type of comments, but then turn around and you see a black man dating a white woman, especially a successful guy, you're like, you hear all this. So why he gotta do that? Why when he make it, he gotta do that? Like, I just feel as though we don't have enough conversation in our own community for us to understand why we do things. And also when it comes to black women, it's kind of like I love black women. I choose them over everything as far as preference goes. It's just we kind of like baby them in a sense. As far as we hold our tongues,
Baby black women.
yeah, we kind of like, and it's like it's pretty much we hear the nagging all the time. As far as like, it's it's always the man's fault in a sense, put it like that, and we pretty much take the
Hmm.
blame. So whatever they dish out, we're taking it, and it's like if you say
Mm-hmm.
one critique about a black woman, it's never taken as a critique. It's taken as a negative, and it's like you don't know nothing, and it is what it is. And I'm just talking about in general. I'm not talking about all black women, but that to me is kind of like the perception that a lot of men have when it comes to black women, um, and I feel as
Hmm.
though it could all be changed if people would just communicate better. If people could just sit down
Yeah.
and talk about this. And I feel like the problem with what Kanye said and what a lot of people do, they pretty much talk
Mm-hmm.
about stuff out in the open where white people can hear and they can misinterpret and pretty much do whatever they want with it as opposed to keeping it as a private conversation. Like if Kanye were to just say this amongst black people and white people couldn't hear it, I don't think it would have that much of a problem. I think the problem lies where your voice is coming out to, you know, white people and other people to where it's like, see, I told you that's how it should be. You know what I'm saying? Like to me is there shouldn't be a problem with questioning something or just thinking differently, just coming to the table and saying how you feel. And I just feel as though black
Mm-hmm.
women, we can't ever criticize them really. We just can't, because if we critique them whatsoever, it's like we're dissing them. Like if I say that you don't listen to me all the time, or I feel like you don't listen, there's always going to be a comeback. Well, you don't do this. And I'm just talking about in general. I'm not talking about all black women. But it's taken that way. And
Mm-hmm.
until we can sit down and talk about this, I feel as though there's always going to be some type of disconnect. And a lot of
Right.
black men who date outside of their race, they feel a certain way about how black women approach things, which I don't think all black women do, but from their experiences, that's how they do.
Yeah, I
You
think
see what I'm saying?
it's easy to generalize in that, but you know, I mean, does that happen? Probably, but
Right,
I
but
don't
they're
know
going
if
off of
it's
their
all black
experiences.
women
Right,
or
but I'm just saying they're going off of their
right,
experiences. But
right.
then when a black woman sees that, it's like, oh, so you don't like black women? And it becomes a whole generalization. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then it becomes, oh, we're not good enough for you. Especially dark women. I feel for the dark women because it's like, you know, even when you get complimented as a dark woman, it's still like, oh, you look good for a dark woman instead of you look good or you look beautiful. It's always for a dark woman. And when they face that
Right.
type of stuff, because you know me and you, we dark women are just beautiful. But in the regular, I guess, society, it's looked at as different.
Yeah.
Even Kevin Hart had some jokes
Mm-hmm.
about how dark women weren't that pretty, and he caught some flack for that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole light
Yeah.
skin, dark skin complex, which black people need to,
Yeah.
yeah,
Dynamic. Mm-hmm.
that black people just have a problem with. Um, but yeah, I feel like we just need more conversations because every black man has a different reason for why he's dating a white woman if he's dating a white woman. It's not
Yeah.
because he
True.
just got
True.
on and oh yeah, as soon as I make it, I definitely have to date me a white girl. Yay. It's not like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But people take it for that.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I say we need a conversation.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, I'm with you 100%. Um. Well, I mean, I feel like we discussed a decent amount. You know, we got a lot of things out there, and hopefully, you know, like kind of on your note, hopefully this conversation, you know, helps people kind of continue the discussions about some of the things that we talked about. Because I mean, really just scratching the surface. Like a lot of those things, especially with the Kanye situation, like we didn't even, you know, really get to dive into as much as we probably could have.
Nope.
Um, but yeah, man, I feel like that you know there's a lot of information that was put out there that can be used in a positive. So so yeah. Um You got any final takeaways,
Yeah,
man, before we kind of
as
close it out?
Kanye has said on this show thousands of times, think on your own and do your own research. And guess what,
Right,
guys?
right,
Like I say
right.
every episode, which relates to what Kanye, our perception is our reality. You cannot fight somebody because they have a particular perception about something. It's their reality, people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I said,
I'm
we
not
shouldn't be up in
disagreeing.
arms.
He just need to clarify what the hell he's
Hey,
saying.
man, he's not a teacher. He's not. He's not the brightest person in the world. So why the heck we holding him to this standard? But I agree with you, son.
Yeah. Yeah.
But our perceptions are reality. People. Ali 5,000.
Yeah. That's right. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening. Stick with us. We got some things that we're trying to work on, trying to constantly expand, make it better. If there's anything you would like to hear in the future, please let us know. And yeah, we'll get with y'all next time.